Canada to the Gulf of Mexico. Where there are Sasquatch sightings, that's where we're gonna go. With so many chilling encounters just waiting to be retold. So join us here in the spooky woods for the Duke Chat Show.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome. I'm so happy to see that many of you decided to join us this evening. We're going to have an awesome show. We're going to have a blast in the universe because I have wonderful two gentlemen with me. I'm going to start with my great guest and a wonderful, person. I should say my brother first. He was getting ready with my brother first here with my co-host, person that I really look like my family, Big TEX. Come and join us, bro.
I wasn't planning on joining the show. I was just going to drive.
Yeah, and right now I was like, okay, is he joining or he's not joining? So I was like, at the moment, I didn't know what to say, but
I'll stick around for a few minutes and then I'm going to drop back by. I'm going to drop back.
Of course,
down.
but welcome, and I want to say thank you for joining us, giving us technical support, and being always here. For each and every episode, it's always amazing to have you as a backbone. I love this gentleman because he's a great brother to me. Welcome aboard. And then I have one and only expert on a Bigfoot, Montana Bigfoot project, and many other things. Great Duke. How else they call him? Dun, dun, dun. So that would be a wonderful friend. How else? What else should I say? A person that, we don't miss to say good morning to each other every morning. How are you doing? A great friend to Duke. Welcome aboard, my friend, and thank you for joining us this evening.
Hey, good to see you live on a screen rather than just texting you for a change. And nice to have Tex here, too. Tex has the classic cowboy hat. I got the mountain man hat. So we're holding down both ends of the country here. Danielle up north of us.
I'm so happy. Yeah, you are like Tex. We are going with you deep into the south, and Montana is very close here to Canada. So you guys are very close to us. So, the weather here is quite hot. Montana is hot. Texas is hot. Maybe the weather is changing. The entire world is changing. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Divas Dimension brought you a wonderful expert on a Bigfoot, somebody who's been, in this topic for quite a while, who actually enjoyed doing this research. It's not just a research for him. It's a part of his life. And also, I want to say thank you to everybody joining in a chat. I want to say Grantovius Max, my dear brother, welcome. Thank you for joining. Mickey, be kind. And of course, Scott, and to the rest of the wonderful people that are part of the military, I salute you and thank you for serving and protecting us, because I can see many of you guys here. Thank you for joining and, welcome aboard. So, Duke, I'm going to start just asking questions. Please, what do you have for us tonight to share? What is out there? Did you encounter any things? What do you think is happening? Why are we seeing more of the Bigfoot sightings all around the world and more? Please, welcome, and you can take over the mic and tell us what's new in the Bigfoot lives around the world.
Well, there's lots of reports coming in pretty much on a daily basis. Thanks. See you guys later.
That's all. See you later. Thanks for stopping by, Duke.
That's what's going on. Same thing as always. The reports coming in on a daily basis. Get 2 or 3 decent pictures or good pieces of video every week. that everybody says there's no Bigfoot video. I don't know. I keep seeing it all the time. Where are you guys looking? Oh, that's right. You're watching TV, which shows you nothing but garbage. Knock it off. They're not going to spoon feed you reality. You have to go look for it.
Tell me about your recent findings, about your recent encounters. What did you find? And, how exciting was it? If you want to share a little bit about that.
Well, it's winter, so we're not doing any Bigfoot research right now. The last time we were out was September, and I haven't released the video of that yet. But just on one quick run through on some of it, there's some very peculiar looking stuff in there. So I'm sure we're going to have some fun looking at that. At one point, we're following a trail along a ridgeline that we know the Bigfoot use it because we found their tracks on it before, which is very peculiar because usually they won't walk the same trail ever. So obviously this is a main thoroughfare. And this time we didn't find any of their tracks on. Of course, the trail was still there. So we walked along this ridge line and really steep on both sides. And I was looking down the back side of the ridge line, and there's this jumble of boulders down there that had this really dark spot underneath it. And I was like, wow, is that just like a little, hole underneath the rocks there, like they're piled up enough that there's kind of an opening, or is it actually the entrance to a cave, or what is that? So I just zoomed in on it and zoomed back out again. Well, when I was looking at the video, it looks like there's about 5 sets of eyes in there looking back at me. So I'm going to have to take a closer look at that one. That was very creepy. While we were there, we didn't get it on video, but we had a big one come stomping into camp about probably about 2 hours after dark. We didn't have any dry firewood. It was colder than hell there, so we weren't going to sit out and keep trying to get stuff that wouldn't ignite to burn properly and throw any heat. We gave up on it. And I went in my tent, and my buddy Johnny went in his car and just sat in the passenger or the driver's seat, reclined it all the way back, and then kind of pulled up his sleeping bag around him. So he was laying in there, and he had the car going for a while, warming it up. I didn't have any heat in the tent. We were both still awake, and all of a sudden we heard 2 massive footfalls right in between my tent and his car, which is about 50 feet, so maybe 25 feet from each one of us. And I didn't feel any impacts or anything because I was on an air mattress. But he said both times when it put its feet down, the car literally shook. So how heavy does it have to be to make the car shake from 25 feet away when he sets his foot down? That was pretty creepy. I'd never heard footfalls that heavy before. And, I had I've had like a draft horse run right next to me along the other side of a fence and stuff. You can feel the ground shake, and they're mighty loud. But this was just ridiculous. Immediately I thought, hey, what the hell? Did a moose just run into camp? And then the next thought in my mind was that was way the hell too heavy to be a moose. That was like elephant weight, Wow. So that was pretty creepy. And then the next night we moved to the camp we usually camp on. We couldn't go there the first night because somebody else was on it. And that was Saturday night. So then Sunday they were leaving because they probably were normal people that had jobs. And we had actually gotten the time available at the beginning of the week when there's nobody up there. So we went and moved up to where we usually camp at. And I set up my tent on the campsite. And Johnny just set in his car up on the road. He didn't set up a tent or anything. And I'm all like, oh, sure, you're going to leave me down here all by myself. And I'm going to have to fend off all the Bigfoot down here. You're going to be up there all nice and safe in your car. And he starts laughing. And I go, you know what's really going to happen? He goes, what? And I go, they're going to totally ignore me, and they're going to be up there screwing around with your car all night long, keeping you awake.
Wow.
So guess what really happened? About 3 hours of listening to them mumbling to each other and walking around his car, keeping him awake.
Oh, my God. Wow.
I've seen this pattern now because I've gone up there a few times with solo people that, just me and them. And the Sasquatch, they're all bored with me. I've been going up there for years, so they're just like, it's Duke. Ignore him. Who's this new guy he's got with him? Let's go screw with him all night long.
And I got to get up there with you one of these days.
Oh, come on up. I know Keith Crabtree had a blast. He's planning on coming up again this spring. Of course, he had one reach in his friggin' truck and tickle his feet, so yeah.
I love Keith to death, man. He's a good dude.
Yep.
And gentlemen, so if I'm joining in because I am planning to go to Montana and do some research. Tex, then you're coming to Canada, because if I can come to Texas, you can come to Canada too. So it's just a little bit above. So I think, and then Duke, you too, it will be fun for all of us to go.
Well, Danielle, all you got to do is drive 8 hours straight south, and you're right where I'm at. So it's not very far.
I know. We are not that far away from each other, actually. For you and me, if I'm going to Texas, I need to fly. So, but I must admit, it's a beautiful state, just like Montana. Montana is also very beautiful state, full of the blessings of the nature all around us. And I wanted to ask you something, Duke. You and I always chat back and forth too, and sometimes we share. You've seen this, you've seen that. Why do you think that in 2023, like basically we have such a skyrocketing of, reports of seeing the Bigfoot more than ever before?
There's just more people reporting it. It's become a regular thing after 10 years of never finding Bigfoot. It was water cooler talk a long time ago already. So people are more willing to come forward and admit that they've maybe seen something. And because now they know there's probably somebody that'll listen to them. And so you're just getting a lot more reports. But that doesn't mean that there couldn't be lots more. I was just pointing that out last night that I probably collected 35, 40 reports here in Montana that I've never bothered to relay to any database. How many other people are out there doing that? I think there's probably been hundreds of reports from Montana, but the locals are so used to the idea that Bigfoot's a regular thing, they don't bother to report them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like even here in Canada, we are getting more and more reports. But what it's we can say also strange, that there is a report, I'm going to tell you, gentlemen, that it's like 25 minutes away from me. I'm in prairies, so to go to Jasper, to go to the mountains, I need about 3 hours drive. So what's happening now that they're coming to prairies and people are reporting it. So I actually got a decent...
They've always been on the prairies. I've had Caveman on my show. He lives in the desert Southwest. It's a freaking desert. They're down there too.
Yeah.
Just because there's no trees around doesn't mean you're safe.
We do have trees, and that's a thing that people that don't know...
Well, that makes it even easier for him. You got trees there. Caveman doesn't even have that luxury.
Yeah, but the truth is, this is more... So we are having here more like people. It's more urban. It's not like a Jasper National Park. Big acreages far away from one another. So the truth is, it is suburb. And after that, like you have acreages that are a little bit further from me because I'm on suburb. But the truth is, when I heard that, the people are saying that they're coming more and more in contact with people. And these are, reports that are happening now. And actually, I'm getting in touch with a gentleman that was on the TV who did a report. So I'm trying to bring him on the show so he can talk to us and tell us more about it. So what do you think? Why we are seeing them now, like you're saying, in desert? I think they've always been there. And they're always been in the prairies. Or is it because we are having these, changes in the world that it's happening? There's lots of changes in the climate, looking for maybe food, shelter. What is happening? Why they're migrating more now towards to the urban areas?
I don't think they really migrate anywhere. They have a range that they pretty much live in. And you'll notice that if you're following one group of them around, that during the winter, they'll be in one range, and during the summer, they'll be in a different one. Spring and fall are when they're moving around, so you get more random sightings there. But I don't think there is any more activity or any more movement of them than what is normally out there. I just think people are more aware of it and more willing to report. Here's a recurrent example. Survivor man, Les Stroud.
Yeah.
He was over in the Transylvanian Alps and almost fell off a damn cliff. And while he's filming himself, still all shook up from almost fell off a damn cliff, there's a Bigfoot 30 feet behind him sitting there watching him. Kelly Shaw just put that out.
Yeah, and you shared that with me. And, you and I were talking about that to do one episode about the Bigfoot, just called the different names in Europe and the Balkan areas. That would be fantastic, But the truth, what is also what I wanted to say, many people and people in the chat that don't know, Europe and the Balkan area and Mediterranean coast is not much more different than North America when it's coming to sighting of different kind of creatures. I also think sometimes we even have more than you guys because the people were living there prior to discovering North America and migrating and bringing all their stuff and their belief systems and other things. So when it comes to that, I'm not surprised that he'd seen. And then also you must understand that Transylvania is a hidden gem in Europe, and many people don't know that. It is like I said, my second home because that's where my roots are coming from. But the truth, it is a hidden gem with many different secrets, so many different creatures and things all around. What do you think when you're talking about Bigfoot and Sasquatch in Europe? Do you think that they were always there, or
yeah, they were always there. If you go back and look in the legends and the history from all the different areas there, they've all got a name for them. They're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
yes,
everywhere
of
from
course.
the big gray man of Ben McDewey in Scotland, the Woodwoes in England, Der Wildermann in Germany, ogres in France. Every single country's got them, and they've got a different name for them, and it's all the same thing, and they've always been there. So that's nothing new. People are just becoming aware of it finally. Even just a few years ago, and Robert Boston, Bigfoot in Germany, was over in Germany doing research over there. People's heads were exploding. What do you mean there's Bigfoot in Germany? Well, there's always been Bigfoot in Germany. See that water fountain in the middle of the town square there that's shaped like a Bigfoot? What do you think that is? It's been there hundreds of years. That's Der Wildermann. Ask them about it. That's their local Bigfoot. So all of those countries have had it. I mean, they got video in one of the mountain ranges over in Poland a few years ago. Some hikers there. There's like 2 Bigfoot across this ravine from them, sitting there watching them hike. Yeah, people are just finally starting to realize, hey, they're here in our countries too. If we go out, maybe we'll see them.
And I personally think if I can share that with both of you gentlemen and maybe the people in the chats too, I personally think they've been always there, like you're saying, and I respect what you're saying. But I also think because, that wasn't that much, published inside of the Europe. It's just a part of the culture and the folklore. And you kind of grow with it while, for example, America, Canada, and many of these countries have more shows about it. For us, it's there. It's always been part of, this world. That's where it's living, And of course, some people will say, don't come near. Some people will say, be there. And it depends from the beliefs, it depends from the experience, and depends from area to area. Now, I wanted to ask you something else. Many people in the chat, they always send different, questions. And one of the questions that I did pay attention to, it's like, what do you think? Are they coming from a different dimensions? Are they like something that kind of change through the time and maybe, just is coming out of the case, but is always part of this world, or it's coming from a different world? What do you think about that?
Hey, BMR, no, you're on the right channel. What do I think about that? Well, what I always tell everybody, Bigfoot are flesh and blood, and they're also supernatural. There you go.
Okay. So do you think that they're coming or they're capable coming from dimension to another dimension?
Oh, some of them can definitely pierce the veil, but that's not like something that they can always do. Apparently, there's a learning curve, and some of these tricks they have to actually practice on. Mm-hmm. There may be a weight limit or something like that, because apparently the little ones can't open a portal or pierce the veil like some of the big ones can, which is why when they're here, they got mommy watching them all the time, because they just can't disappear as easy as the big adults can.
Yeah. And I have one more question for you. You were mentioning now the offsprings. What do you think? Because there's a huge issue and debate in the world of Bigfoot. Some people are saying that, they get offsprings every 10 years, like a decade. Some people are saying the offsprings are every 5 to 6 years. Some people are saying, no, it's every year. What do you think? Like, how often, they do give offsprings or they give a birth by your research and by your studies that, is it happening just like naturally? Or what do you think? Where is this, theory going?
They're much more aware of the carrying capacity of a random chunk of land than we would be. And they seem to have way better control of how many offspring they produce. Keeping in mind that according to our best guesstimates, it's about 10 months gestation period. So if they have a kid, that takes up a whole year. And rarely they're going to produce twins. And it all has to do with how much land is available and how much food is available. Because if they start having too many Sasquatch, then suddenly they're all starving because they don't have enough food. And it also makes it more difficult to hide when you have more. So it all depends on their range, what the food resources are like. In areas where you got vast amounts of wilderness with no humans around, you could have very big groups of them because the land will support it. If you're talking about some little woods on the East Coast, you maybe have a mom and dad and a couple kids, and that's it.
No, okay. It makes sense. It makes sense because a lot of times people say, we always see adults and rarely ever we see the offspring. So do you think like offsprings are really...
I'd say just the opposite. I'd say we're always seeing offspring and we very rarely see adults. The kids are the ones that make mistakes so that we see them. The adults don't make stupid mistakes. They're adults. They know better. If you see an adult like 10 feet or bigger, you're seeing them on purpose. They're letting you see them, and it's probably because you have just pissed them off really bad and something bad's about to happen.
Oh, pretty cool. I have one question that it's quite interesting, and I'm going to answer by Morgan is saying, in Romania, they believe if you are a werewolf in your life, you turn to Strigoi vampire in that. Is Bigfoot linked to that theory? No, the Bigfoot is a totally different theory from Strigoi or the vampire. So Bigfoot is a totally different creature than Strigoi vampire.
Yeah.
I actually have, I've been a guest. Yeah, I've been a guest on the Duke show, and I did explain that. And I'll have more shows regarding the Strigoi vampires and stuff like that. So I enjoy always bringing different dimensions, creatures, legends, and folklore, and more to you guys. And now, another question. How do you think we can attract them? Many people are saying, you should leave this, you should leave that. How do you think we can, let's say in my backyard, I have a, Bigfoot that is coming back and forth, and I would like to communicate with him, her. What should I do to, get their attention or, to get him to trust me?
If you're in a position where you've got them hanging out on your property all the time, you need to talk to somebody that knows something about them directly. If you're curious and you want to go see a Bigfoot, go somewhere else. Even if you know they're around your property, better idea is to not interact with them. Some people who have found sightings that were near where they live and went there and checked out the sightings have found out that the Bigfoot followed them back to their house. And now they're there messing around at their house all the time. And in 2 cases that I know of, the researcher didn't really mind that much, but the wife and kids didn't like it. So they had to make sure that Bigfoot went away somehow.
Oh, okay.
At which point, that's a real problem because you don't have much in the way of communication with them. And how do you get them to like, bugger off without, being mean and upsetting them? It's a real problem. So be careful what you ask for. I don't recommend people go out and try and look for them or make contact with them. They don't want anything to do with us. If they want to make contact with you, they'll probably initiate it. They will be the ones that will decide that. You can go out and look for them until the cows come home, but you're not going to find anything if they don't want you to find anything. You may be able to find some structures. You may be able to find some tracks. You may even hear some vocals off in the distance, but getting close to them, that's totally up to them. The only ones you can randomly get anywhere near are just the kids that make mistakes occasionally. But the adults just like, they don't do that. It's very, 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 very rare that an adult makes a mistake like that. They know their best thing that they can do is avoid us as much as possible.
Yeah, because when I had my encounter that I share with everybody, I will never forget, how close I was near that creature. I will never forget, that he was more scared of me than I was scared of him. Me being curious, me being who I am, me using all of my basically power, to connect to that creature. And I'll never forget how fast they are. Now I wanted to ask, a lot of times before people will say, oh, it's a bear, it's a moose, and sometimes, of course, when we see these videos, and I think many of us, especially if you're talking to people that do a lot of, camping, they go out in the wild in the forest, they will be capable of seeing, what is the bear, what is the, let's say, a cougar or etc. So what do you think, when you see, like you're saying, adult, and like they want us to see them on purpose? Why they want us, why they want to catch our attention? Is there a reason why?
About 90% of the time, it's because you're doing something that they don't like, or you're in an area they don't want you in, and they want you to go away. And they're showing you themselves just because that's usually out to make humans, broad
Yeah.
springs their pants and run away.
Wow. And I have my theory is like a lot of times by my own research, what I found, where we see the Bigfoot, a lot of times we do see UFOs. So it's almost like Bigfoot is going on a piggy ride with UFOs, and we will see always like both of these sightings in the same area. So where you see aliens and reports of the aliens, or strange landing and stuff like that, you will also have reports of the Bigfoot. Do you think that these phenomena are some kind, they have some kind of connection?
Some people certainly seem to think so. This data set that I have doesn't indicate it. And I've been doing field work for 45 years, and I haven't seen any indication of it. There's other people that are like, well, there's Bigfoot here, and there's orbs flying around here too. Cool. I've never seen an orb around where the Bigfoot are where I've gone to in any of the states I've been to. Not saying it doesn't happen. It's just like not anything I can vouch for. I have a data set of 0 on that one.
And that's another thing. People ask me, oh, did you see any orbs? I said, my theory doesn't change, and my story is not going to change. I didn't see any orbs. All what I see was this huge creature with a beautiful, 2 eyes looking at me. And as I was holding Maggie, I went up to the hill to face this creature, and I think because my dog was barking, and I was going towards this creature, he ran away and went up to the hill. I never saw something fast going up to the hill between, the trees like that. And I'll never forget that musculoskeletal system, because being in a medical field, I'm capable of knowing the body structure of the human. So when I saw something like that, I was pretty shocked. Here in Canada, so I'm just wondering if we can compare that. When you go and report that you did see a Bigfoot, usually I can say 99% our police officers and our rangers do accept your story. They will say our woods, have many hidden stories, many things that are not discovered yet. And they'll say you're not the first one that reported it. And they will take information and stuff like that. So I'm just wondering, how are the people that are experiencing this, when they're reporting, are they respected by, let's say the rangers, the local authorities? What is the understanding and respect towards to somebody who does do report in the States regarding the Bigfoot?
Unlike other parts of the country, we have plenty of Bigfoot here, and the local law enforcement are getting reports since the 1960s. And so at this point, most of the people kind of realize that it's a real thing. And in order for law enforcement to pull the shenanigans they do in other states, saying you saw a bear isn't going to work. Like there's bears everywhere. We know what a bear looks like.
Of course.
And the other thing is they're destroying their own credibility. Because if they don't want to believe eyewitnesses, why are we going to report anything to them? So they kind of gave up on that. As a matter of fact, in the 70s, Sheriff Wolverton was getting all kinds of Bigfoot reports in his area in the county he was working in. And so he was going out and investigating them. And he was so convinced that when he retired and wasn't a sheriff anymore, he went out and did field research for like another 20 years and wrote a book on it. So it's a little different here. Idaho and Montana, especially western Montana and pretty much all of Idaho, there's so many Bigfoot sightings and reports and stuff. Law enforcement just can't get away with trying to shove it under the rug. But it's not that way in other parts of the country. Like down in Texas, they'll try and tell you it's a bear.
Okay. So it depends from the area
Depends
to
on where
area.
you live. Yep.
Okay.
If you're more rural and you've got more Bigfoot, everybody's freaking seeing them. If they haven't seen it, their cousin, uncle, mom, dad, grandpa, somebody's seen one. Like my
Yeah.
current research buddy and current roommate that I got here, Johnny, he hadn't seen a Bigfoot before, but his grandma saw one. You
There
know,
you go.
like everybody
Oh,
knows somebody that's seen one if they haven't personally seen one. So you can't.
mhm.
It's not that easy to hide it here because there's fewer people and more Bigfoot. And another thing is they always go, well, this is the most Bigfootiest state because it's got the most sightings in it. And some people say like Oregon or Washington State. Others that look in terms of number of actual reports, not visual sightings. Oklahoma wins. They got over
Mhm.
1,200. But really, what you're looking at is how many reports are there and how
Yeah.
big is the population. And that's what they always forget.
Mhm.
Because in order to have a Bigfoot report, you have to have two things. You have to have a Bigfoot and you have to have somebody that cites it that wants to report it. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you've got a state that's got like 10 million residents and they got 400 Bigfoot reports, and then you got my state that has 300 Bigfoot reports and a million residents, who has more Bigfoot? Per capita number says Montana kicks their ass because we have very
Mhm.
few people and we've got almost
Yeah.
as many reports as they do. And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean the Bigfoot here are sloppy and get seen more often. It just means there's a lot more of them.
And I have a one more question, and I see many people in chats would like to know that. So, well, I'm gonna pick on your brain. I'm gonna ask and just be honest. Do you think that Bigfoot sightings are also connected to different kind of sounds? So if there's a you know more sounds that it's coming from different kind of, like, let's say it's closest to, I don't know, some electromagnetic fields, or if it's closest to urban area where there's, so what do you think, is there something that basically the waves would affect them and their sightings, or making them come more to that area?
Seems to be a correlation between them and electric fields because they're frequently spotted following power lines or hanging around like power terminals and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And some of it you can attribute to, well, there's a big straight cut through the mountains for
Yeah.
50 miles with an
Yeah.
opening with a power line on it, so it's an obvious easy path.
Yeah.
But then again, they don't necessarily need an easy path, so why are they
Hmm.
still hanging around there? Blaine Tyler's documented that. We found it here before too. The other thing is the theoretically, in order to do some of their little tricks, they need energy for it. And some of the psychic people say that they get it from sucking it directly off of ley lines. They can just put their head, like lay on the ground basically face down
Wow.
for a few minutes and soak up the
Wow.
energy. And there's other ones that Kat Hansen, for example, said some of the ones in her clan actually will eat chunks of white quartz. She's seen them do it. And that brings on other interesting possibilities, which is that they're getting some kind of it's either tuning them like a tuning dial on a radio to tune to a certain frequency,
Hmm.
or it's because of the piezoelectric inherent energy in it. And that's another thing. Everywhere that there's gold mines, there seem to be Bigfoot. That isn't because of the gold. It could be, but I think it's because everywhere there's gold mines, generally there's big quartz deposits.
Yes,
Quartz deposits
exactly.
are piezoelectric. So when the pressure of the ground presses down on them, it's generating an electric current. And the Bigfoot can easily use that to energy to draw to do some of their little tricks. So we've got all of these different weird things. And I started looking at this like 2-3 years ago, and most of the Bigfoot hotspots I know that I've been to, there's quartz all over the freaking place there. There's chunks of white quartz the size of your fist
Hmm.
laying on the ground.
Wow, that's quite amazing. Because what I did when I did my research, I did find out basically, that they are attracted to certain things, like you're saying. There is electromagnetic fields, and then also the quartz is the main thing. And I heard that also from, our Aboriginal tribes, that lots of times, you'll find them where the quartz exists, because they call them just by a different names. So I would like to know, Aboriginal tribes on North American continent. It doesn't matter here in Canada or in the States. They said they were always part of, their life, and that, they knew they existed. So why do you think that modern man, it's taking such a long time to accept this phenomenon or this creature, that it's part of this world and that it always was part of this world?
People still haven't accepted it, and the powers that be aren't going to. I mean, they'll disclose UFOs before they disclose Bigfoot
I think
because
UFOs
it's
for a moment.
easier to fit UFOs
Mhm.
into their narrative than it is to fit Bigfoot in it. Bigfoot breaks their narrative. UFOs can fit right into it. So they're not going to admit Bigfoot. If Bigfoot gets disclosed,
Okay.
it's because the Bigfoot want to be disclosed, which, by the way, is kind of what's going on. But before we go on with any more questions, we got a 9-minute clip we got to show people.
Yeah, of course. Please, ladies and gentlemen, we have a wonderful clip. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about it before we are sharing it? You can tell us what's happening here.
This is a segment from Inevitably Finding Bigfoot, the upcoming documentary. The first third of it is almost done except for the narration. That's all that needs to be added onto it. And this is documenting me and Ashton's journey from western Montana over to eastern Nebraska to go to the Bigfoot conference there. And then in part 2, we're going to show how we spent the day running around that nice treeless flat Nebraska to try and find a Bigfoot, and we did. And then in part 3, it's going to show when we came back what we did after that, which was spend the summer boringly running around filming more Bigfoot. So with that,
Amazing.
here we go. I guarantee this will be the greatest spaghetti western Bigfoot documentary ever, because at this point it's the only one.
Wow.
So
Well, thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Boom.
Cadillac's tossing at camp.
That's in there.
This is when we actually found the X. We filmed this. Stumbled on it randomly. It's 6 stories tall. This is actually in the Nebraska Bigfoot Museum. As far as I know, that's the largest X structure that's been documented. Others have claimed they found bigger ones, but they've never scaled it. There's no way to measure it. And I'm right underneath it, and I'm 6 feet tall.
Let's
So
look
there
from
you
below.
go.
Hear that, folks? Wow. Oh, we're coming to check it out.
Again, look at how gigantic this thing is.
Amazing. Wow.
That is so not natural. Those trees are moved into place too, by the way.
Making a magical structure. And they just happen to all go right in between the fork of that tree. Of all the places they could fall, right into the fork of that tree.
Oh, it's totally coincidental, just like that
Yeah. Now, coincidence happens naturally.
And here's a 50-foot teepee structure.
Wow. Pretty
Those
tall.
trees are like 2-3 feet thick, just to give you an
Amazing.
idea on how big some of them are.
Mm-hmm.
There's another huge X structure. Watch closely here, because when I get underneath the X right here, and I start turning the camera toward where the other nearby X is, there's 2 Bigfoot on the ground that I didn't point out.
But from this big X, which they made this year,
Right there.
and that's over here. There. Another big X over here.
Yeah, it's also about a 40 or 50-foot X there.
Wow.
And now we have a
Amazing.
good shot. Eric got this of two juvenile Sasquatch and some kind of little canine creature we hadn't been able to identify are scurrying around behind these pine trees and are way too close to us. If you look right where the stalk of the pine tree is there, and behind the branches, you can see them moving around. One of them looks through the gap, does a wood knock, and then looks back again to see if we're looking at him. And we got the whole damn thing on video. This doesn't include the soundtrack, of course, of the wood knock. But you can see him peeking up there toward the top. His head moving around.
He wants attention. He
Yeah,
wants
apparently.
attention. For
Here's
sure.
one trying to hide from me. Blame Tyler spotted this one. He's laying down on the ground, peeking over a log. And a couple more way upriver from me watching me. A couple of them lying on the ground pretending that they're logs trying to hide. Really big one in the background watching me. There's actually two back behind it. If you look close, you can see the cone heads on both of them. There's three of them over there. When it pulls back out the brush pile on the right-hand side, there's actually one watching me. You can see his face and his right hand as the camera goes across if you look closely. And his head turns. Getting some buffering issues there. There's a big one laying on the ground watching me walk past it. And we're going to show that clip again in slow-mo. And you can tell I'm not very far away. Does not look particularly happy to see me. And turning the camera onto the X structure. And now I'm about to accidentally catch a 12-foot Bigfoot standing right behind me in the tree line. When you see his face, check out. Here we go. I accidentally catch him. And there he is right there. His nose is the size of my head.
Wow.
Is he really smiling? We don't know. But I like to think he was, because the alternative isn't very good. He actually followed me after I
Maybe, never know.
After I finished this shot, I turned and walked upriver and down this hillside to where they had another big structure. And while we were down there, we caught a bunch more of them on video, which I'll show next. We got one picture that's got 5 of them in the one picture. And this guy's one of them that followed the rest of them down there and followed me down there. Close-up shots thanks to Kelly Shaw, Rocky Mountain Sasquatch. He's got the zoom in software. Yeah, Christy's in chat, and she found a lot of these guys in the videos. She just missed the 2 that she missed, though. And I am up there by myself. There is no one anywhere near me, except for those Sasquatch. This shot's from about 10 minutes later.
Amazing.
That one's really obvious. Next one's also
Very.
really obvious. Two of them there. That one on the left is the big one that followed me down the hill, I'm pretty sure. And there you go. That's my little clip from the documentary. We got 5 people on the team. Each one of them has an introductory clip like that because they're freaking awesome. Christy in the chat room, her clip is like kicks my clip's ass. Blaine Tyler, same thing. So I had to make mine look the best I could.
First of all, I want to say, Duke, thank you for sharing, this video with us. And, it's an honor to have it shared here on Diva's Dimension. And, it's just quite amazing to see everything and all the evidence that you had. And I remember when I was in, National Park and doing my research, I was sending you the photos of some of those teepees that I found myself, and I was sharing it with you, and I was like, oh my God, look how tall they are. And you said, yeah, there's even some taller. And just like you show in the video, that must be amazing, when you're there. Can you describe it for us for a moment? How did you feel when you felt their presence? Because it's not just one. It's, for example, in a couple of those videos, there was a couple around them,
Yeah.
What is the heart?
Very
what
much
is
surrounded.
What's your soul saying?
Well, they have such a heavy presence in that area. You just get so used to them being around you that it kind of feels weird when you're not being followed and watched. Then you wonder what's going on because you're so used to them following and watching you all the time. You just get used to it. I guess, other than occasionally when I do see them with my naked eye, which is pretty rare, I usually just catch them by accident on camera, finding their gigantic structures, like that X structure we showed at the beginning, that was literally when we found it. I walked over the crest of the hill first, and I called Debs, Mike, film me. I'm going to walk down there get underneath it for scale so we can tell exactly how big it is. Like most of these guys never do that. So they can always argue about their structure's bigger. Bullshit. Put a tape measure on it or go stand underneath it. Get somebody to get the whole thing in frame so we can measure how tall it is. Until then, I got the biggest X structure on Earth. And but the thing is when you find something like that, it's really shocking because if you know what Bigfoot structures look like, the first thing you default to is that looks like a Bigfoot structure, but that is so huge, it can't be.
Yeah.
And then you go up and you look at it more closely and go, those trees weren't pushed over. They don't have a root system. Something picked those damn trees up, moved them into position and put them together. Yeah. And then they deconstructed it about a year later. The center tree that's got the little hook in it is still there. The ones that were laying across it are all flat down on the ground against each other now. Wow. And they didn't break or anything. They literally deconstructed it.
So when we can expect this, project or the movie to be shown to the rest of the
world? Well, on my upcoming birthday here on the 13th, I'm planning on having the first 1/3 of it. Just the documenting of the part where we leave Montana, go to Nebraska, and get there to meet up with everybody, which is at the Nebraska Bigfoot Museum. That's literally where we stayed to yet. And then part 2 starts with we all get together and we go out in Nebraska and have our one day to try and find a Bigfoot. And then part 3 is after we all go back home again and what happens during the summer afterwards when we're running around with our boring life of filming Bigfoot and finding giant tracks and enormous structures and things like that. So I think I counted it just with me and Ashton, the 2 Montana guys on the team. And the first, it's not even half an hour, it's like 26 minutes. We've got 20 Bigfoot in it or more.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Wow.
several I didn't bother to point out. Y'all can consider those Easter eggs when you're watching it on the big screen going, holy bleep, there's one right there too. Yeah, we
Yeah.
probably saw it, but it's like, how long do we want to make this thing?
Yeah.
We're supposed to have like this little brief piece with each person, 5-10
Mhm.
minutes long. Here's what they do. Here's some of the stuff they found. Set up the credentials. Then they all meet. They go try and find a Bigfoot, and then they all go
Wow.
back home again. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Amazing. Talking about the Bigfoot, ladies and gentlemen, there is the Alabama Bigfoot Conference June 7th and the 8th, 2024. Tickets are already on the sale right now. The website is there and you can purchase, Texas Front Porch, Blonde and Booze will be there, Randy, Donicho, and many others, BMR. I will be there myself, and I'm bringing my backup, my sister, and of course, there's something that I want to guys tell you. There is a book that is coming out that it's written by me and Texas Front Porch, and that's about infamous minds and the dark minds of this world that are walking among us, unfortunately. But it's quite something that you can enjoy and read. So we will have that ready also for you over there. Now, Duke, I wanted to ask you something. When we, are looking at the Bigfoot, and when we're looking at your amazing video, and also a first part that is coming on your birthday, December the 13th. Mine is December the 17th, so I'm 4 days after
Happy
you.
birthday, dear.
Thank you so much, and happy birthday to you too. So, but we'll chat each other, and I'm sure I'll send you a happy birthday. I'm just wondering, can you tell me, before I let you go, what do you think, what we can expect in years to come, or especially in the year 2024, and the Bigfoot, maybe being, more discoveries shown? Are we going to have more encounters, or will we catch one and, show it to the rest of the world?
Well, we don't really need to catch one. I mean,
I
like
don't.
the standard is that you have to have physical evidence, and we have physical evidence. We've already got a DNA study. Melba was working on that 10 years ago. Dr. Ketchum is still working on it. She's still getting more of the whole genome thing sorted out so that we can say with a little bit more clarity where the male donor came from and what it is. But we know what they are. They're hybrids. They're human something else hybrids.
Yes.
So, yeah, like Christy says in the chat room, Bigfoot don't like people, and no. And William in the chat room says, likes the video, but concerned skeptics would say inconclusive and pareidolia. William, they'll say that no matter what. You can shove a live Bigfoot under their nose, and they'll claim it's a bear in a suit.
Exactly.
They're irrelevant. They're morons.
Yeah, and that's totally true, And I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, everybody that joined in the chat, to talk to Duke, me, and Tex, and first of all, to my wonderful guests here that I respect and admire very much. Thank you. And if you didn't subscribe, please subscribe to us, because we'll have more of the Duke stories and many different other stories from different dimensions. Again, Duke, this has been a blessing to have you here. I'm looking forward to work with you more in the future. And I'm looking forward more to, us making these shows, talking and bringing maybe Bigfoot alive for the interview. That would be quite a show. You never know.
Yeah, I'm trying to do an interview with the Bigfoot, but they don't want to be recorded, so that's kind of causing the problem right there. They're getting to the point where they don't mind too much if I get recordings of them making vocalizations, but them talking, no, they're not going to be doing an interview anytime soon, I don't think.
You never know. The world is magical. Ladies and gentlemen, it's always wonderful, to have you all. Thank you, everybody, for joining here, to Divas Dimension. Thank you, Tex, my great bro, always supporting me. Everybody in the chat, thank you. And Duke, I'm saluting you. Thank you for sharing this wonderful video. Thank you for being here on Divas Dimension. It's an honor. And one more thing, happy birthday. And God bless you with everything that you wish for.
Thanks, dear. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for giving me a chance to share the video with everybody. That's just a tiny teaser of the hour and a half of amazing video that you're going to see when it's all completed, or the 25 minutes of it that you'll get to see here on my birthday.
All of you guys, that you want to bless Duke for his birthday, help him out with his research and the studies, because all of this, needs support, and we all do the things for, our own way. Please don't forget Duke and, Montana's Bigfoot project. Thank you again, Duke. Thank you, Tex. Love you guys. We'll see you next week. And next week, I'll probably have another wonderful guest, and we're going to go deeper, talk about crystals, protection, and much, much more. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night, and God bless Duke. Have a good night and sleep well. Text, bro. Hit the button. Love you guys, and God bless everybody.
Night all. Love you.
Everyone, safety first, last, and always. Pay it forward. Don't be mean to people if you don't have to be. Don't flip off the mountain giant. Don't poke Dogman with a stick. Don't punt the puck, would you? And for God's sake, whatever you do, do not hug the Wookiee.